Much like the great travels of Odysseus, I am once again on the road. Right, I am on the road again. I'm not, however, I'm not evading authorities. I want you to know that. There are no major authorities after me. We settled up after the last time that I was on the run, which is why we're able to kind of try out this new recording style. This is basically like a handheld camera that is much better than the one that is on my laptop. Although you still be able to see stuff that I'm looking at on my laptop, and we are looking at something that genuinely blows my damn mind today, right? A story I came across that even though I haven't even been to the convention yet at TwitchCon because I had to sit down and talk about this first because it's blowing my damn mind so much. But yeah, hopefully this all works. If it ends up being super shaky or whatever like happened last time, we're just always striving for improvement on this incredibly low budget channel that you enjoy watching anyways. I am excited for TwitchCon. If you're there, let me know. I can try and arrange to be in a certain place to hang out with you. I'm not really scheduled to do anything. I'm just kind of here to see you guys and then, see friends and meet with a few brands about things coming up in the future, which is awesome because there are some fun things coming up in the future. Now, unfortunately, none of those brands are giving me $100 million. If they did, I might try to buy a football club. And that is the core of this video. Okay, because there is somebody out there that has $100 million that I'm going to attempt to make the argument should not be able to buy a football club. Probably because that guy is a footballer. And that would be Trent Alexander-Arnold. I saw this first in this tweet from TNT Sports. Said Trent is in talks to purchase Ligue 1 club Nantes. Now, that is a bit of a misrepresentation of what exactly is happening. But basically, together with an investment fund, they've submitted a bid of 100 million euros for the 8-time French champions Nantes. And that investment fund is led by Trent Alexander-Arnold's dad, who is also his manager, and I believe uses the investment fund to help manage Trent Alexander-Arnold's interests. My initial immediate reaction to this is, how the fuck is this legal? I feel like that's the only natural reaction to this. Okay, we are already very deep into a gray zone when it comes to multi-club ownership, when it comes to City maybe having Girona and Manchester City go up against each other in a match, or Chelsea buying multiple clubs across, like a lot, Red Bull, obviously, a lot of these multi-club ownership groups, as they're being called now, in the potential for clubs that are owned by the same person to come up against each other, which creates, even if that person genuinely is not involved in determining the result, what you don't want to do is create a situation where it's possible for you to question whether the activities on the field are genuine. Right? This is the same reason that if you are a referee, you can't just wear somebody's jersey to a bar in public. Right? And you have somebody take a picture of you and then post it, because even if you are able to be completely impartial, you've now raised the specter that your decision-making, that the things that are happening on the field could be affected, can be questioned. Somebody can point in that direction and go, ooh, that shit's crazy. That shit shouldn't be happening. Right? Or it happened because of this. But there is no gray area on a player owning a club while they're playing. And I'm not talking about a player owning a club while they're playing in the Japanese league at the age of 45. Right, I'm talking about a 25-year-old star player for one of the biggest clubs in the world buying another club that they could very conceivably have to play against. And to be honest, I don't know where you actually be able to draw that line, because FIFA's obviously created this sprawling, ridiculous Club World Cup, which means even if Trent decided to buy a team in the Uruguayan second division, it's conceivable that team could eventually become a team that Trent would have to play against. Now, it's not as conceivable as Nantes being able to get itself back into European competition and Trent having to engage with that, but that's just weird. Like that, can you imagine going in with a 2-footed tackle against one of your club's minority owners? Like what if you start talking shit on the field to the right back of the team that you're playing against, all of a sudden you might be trash talking the person that signs your wage over every week. This is not something that should happen. It just shouldn't. And I'm stunned there is not some sort of rule, at least within continental associations, like in UEFA or something, that if you are a professional footballer, you cannot own another club in UEFA, right? Like that, if you want to go buy a team in the Canadian Premier Division, freaking fine, right? Like do that. I can live with that. This is just insane. Now, honestly, this one kind of falls on the regulators, though. It does. I don't really blame Trent Alexander-Arnold for wanting to do this, because I think everybody, if their dad ran what is apparently a pretty significant investment fund, made a ton of money playing professional football, whatever, owning a club sounds sick. I think every guy's secret fantasy is that they'll be able to be the next Rob Reynolds or Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney and be able to buy a club and like transform its fortunes and become a hero in the local community. Like, that's all great. Right, but you just, like, I don't blame Trent for wanting to do that. You just can't let this happen. You can't let this happen in the sport. Right now, some of these footballers end up with a lot of money that they're going to be able to use to try and do this sort of stuff in the future. But you've got to stop this now. Because if you think you're getting conflicts of interest with large, sprawling ownership groups, once, you've got the next, like Erling Haaland owns, I don't know, a team in Norway. Right? None of this is headed in any direction that is good. There is no possible direction that we are currently on the trajectory for with this that is going anywhere good at all. But here's another problem. There's only so many people that know and like football, that know and like soccer, that have enough money to run these clubs. Okay, I make a lot of videos on this channel about stories that have to do with clubs that are running out of money. Okay. It feels like a lot of clubs around the world, when you peel back the curtain, are in pretty shitty financial shape, right? Everybody always points out it's something outstanding. It's something above and beyond what's normally expected when somebody that owns a club is actually balancing the books, right? Because owning a club is passion, right? At least for a lot of people. Or it is a passion that then burns them, that they become unpassionate about. Right, we've seen that happen before, where somebody comes in, spends a ton of money, then the team gets worse, and then they just go, well, fuck this, I'm not going to do that anymore. Right, but a lot of the amount of money that is being required to be spent for players and facility, whatever, there's the reason they're playing friendlies in Narnia in the middle of the summer, right? Or it's the reason they're scheduling all these preseason tours in the outback in Australia to try and pay for all of the shit that they have. But there is, like, I don't think the football world's actually going to ban players from being active players from being a part of club ownership, because the football world needs more solid owners. Even if that solid owner creates a conflict of interest, the football world is struggling so mightily financially to be able to support the clubs that it has. The distribution of the money is not there enough. The financial responsibility is not there enough. The vetting of the owners is not there enough. People aren't getting paid. It's just kind of this giant rolling disaster. And maybe player ownership can help. I think you have to ban this. I'm just making the case for why they won't. They definitely won't. They're not going to do it. They're not going to do shit. Trent's going to be a minority owner of Nantes, right? He's going to make an appearance in the box in between Liverpool matches. People are going to be wondering why he wasn't at training or something. Like, this is just, it's just weird. And apparently he's been trying to do this for a while. I'm surprised I'm just hearing about this right now. But L'Equipe, who initially broke this story, understands that Arnold was interested in purchasing Saint-Etienne and Le Havre before setting his sights on Nantes. So they've been trawling around trying to find a club that they would want to buy. When I say they, I'm talking about him and his dad, who is, I didn't know Trent's dad led a London-based investment firm. I don't know what came first, the chicken or the egg here, whether he started the investment firm to further Trent's interests, or he ran the investment firm and then it was just convenient that Trent started making a lot of money as a footballer. I don't know. And they've also already bought a part of Alpine, the French F1 team. I don't know what the Arnold's invested interest is in being a part of French sports. It doesn't seem really named anywhere. Other than the fact that they just really are interested in the French sports market. So Nantes, meet your new owners, which they're apparently going to be happy about because the previous owner of Nantes, Valdemar Kita, is an ever unpopular figure among the Canaries fan base. So, bought them in 2007. He's going to try and recoup most of his debt. 100 million actually feels like a pretty good deal for a club like Nantes. That's basic. This shouldn't happen, right? Am I going insane? Am I losing my mind? We can't have active players owning clubs, being part of the ownership group of other clubs. That's it. That's the tweet.